some verses of the Quran, but they fail. Why? Because Almighty Allah preserved the book. Almighty Allah, when Almighty Allah sent down the previous scriptures, He asked them to preserve the Quran. But they did not hold the promise. They changed the words of Almighty Allah. So Almighty Allah sent down the Quran and He promised to preserve it. He did not ask the people to preserve it at all. Do you know how the Quran is preserved? In the hearts of the believers. Almighty Allah enables the believers to memorize the whole Quran by heart through the Islamic history. Burn every single copy of the Quran, no problem. The Quran is there. Thousands and thousands, but hundreds of thousands of Muslims during the Islamic history memorized the Quran. The whole Quran, from the cover to the cover. The whole Quran. If we are talking about the Muslims, the adult, those who are adult, memorizing the whole Quran, men and women. What about those kids, 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old, even 5 years old, memorizing the whole Quran? Do you think that this is the ability of these little kids to memorize 600 pages? No. It is by the will of Almighty Allah to preserve the Quran. Go to non-Arabs. Non-Arabs memorize the whole Quran from cover to cover, and when you ask them, please tell me the meaning of this verse, the meaning of this word, I am sorry, I cannot speak Arabic, I don't know. Yet, memorize the whole Quran. This is the will of Almighty Allah, to preserve the Quran. If you are talking Arabs, adults, non-Arabs, what about those kids? Non-Arab kids who cannot speak Arabic, kids. 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old. Memorize the whole Quran. Kids from non-Arabs cannot speak Arabic. This is the will of Almighty Allah. It's the miracle by Almighty Allah to show that these little kids who cannot speak Arabic exist. So, the Quran is 100% authentic, not because it is written in minds, but it is written here in hearts. Okay, the Quran has no contradictions. No contradictions at all. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala قال في القرآن الكريم أفلا يتدبرون القرآن ولو كان من عند غير الله لوجدوا فيه اختلافا كثيرا. أفلا يتدبرون القرآن? Don't they contemplate the Quran? Don't they reflect on? If the Quran was from other than Allah, you will find many contradictions. You will find much contradiction in it. So, no contradiction at all in the Quran. The verses of the Quran go in harmony. Go explaining the guidance from Almighty Allah without contradiction. And who will you think that there is any contradiction in your mind, go to the people of knowledge and they will clarify this to you, and there is no contradiction. The Quran explains scientific miracles for 10 centuries ago. Okay. We are talking about the Quran is unique. No one can produce the light like the Quran. The Quran is 100% authentic. The Quran has no contradictions. Well, someone will say to you, might say to you, okay, this is your opinion. You are a Muslim. But this is not my opinion. Because I haven't studied Quran. I haven't studied the history of Quran. I haven't studied Islam. So, well, and this might take me long to discover the Quran, to study the Quran until I reach the truth. But you can come to this person and prove to him the truthfulness in the Quran or about the Quran maybe in few minutes. In few minutes. Then start to talk about the Quran, which explained the scientific miracles 14 centuries ago. The scientific miracles in the Quran, the modern science came to be a witness for the authenticity of the Quranic description of human and universe and other phenomena. Okay. When you deal with this person who said to you that I have to study the Quran for many and many years in order to find the truth, and that will take him a long time, maybe, but you can prove to him the truthfulness of the Quran with minutes. In minutes, during minutes. When you talk about the facts mentioned in the Quran, the Quran holds many scientific facts that have been discovered recently, either in this century or maybe the previous century. Yet, the Quran explains them 14 centuries ago. Explained them 14 centuries ago. When there were no instruments, no high technology, no training, scientific training, nothing like this. And you are talking about the Prophet of Islam, Muhammad, peace be upon him, who wrote the Quran, used to be illiterate. He could not read nor write. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So, as I promised to you, within few minutes, you can prove to this person that the Quran,